All right. Okay, guys, let's continue. So we have the next map problem. This one's gonna be annoying because you see this. We have a set inside of a map. So not only are we mapping a country region, oh, so because it's country dot region, to, but we're mapping it to a set of country items or country objects as well. You see, result. Again, we always name it result. I always name it result, but you can always name it something else. And I'm using hash map as always. So what is the exercise asking us to do specifically? By the way, on Google Meet, I really can't get off my screen that often. So if you have any questions, just speak up through the mic, okay? Just open your mic and speak. So me and everyone else in like the actual meeting can hear you too. Don't worry. Returns a dictionary which map each region to its countries. So basically, you need a region and you need to map every country to that region. Okay, so we need to loop through all the countries as always. So country, get all. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing as we did here because this line is crucial to adding the actual region keys to our map, which we want. So result contains keys, contains key, and then the country dot get region. So yeah, if the region is not already in, then we put it in, and then we initialize it with the value of. I'll show you in a bit. But this time we're mapping it to a set of countries. So we need a new hash set. Because remember, it's not a count anymore. It's not a counter of every country. It is a set of all the countries that are in that region. So we need a hash set to store them in. You guys got that? Region mapping to a set of all countries within said region. And then you need to add the country itself. So result dot put, no, not get, because remember we're getting the region key. So we're getting the region itself. So we're gonna do country dot region again, get region again. So whichever country which has that region will be put inside of it. And then we need to do outside, we need to do add country. Because remember, uh this whole thing will return to us the hash set, the value. Because the hash set is the value that's tied to the region. When we do a get that uses the key, which is the country.get region, we return the hash set. And from the hash set, we can use the add method that it has to add the country inside of it. So like you see the set exercises before, add dot country get name is the same as this, but instead of result, we have all of this. Result dot get country get region, and then we dot add country on the outside of the entire thing. And that is our second solution. You see how there's many layers to it because it's getting more and more object oriented. It's just like brackets and methods everywhere. The yeah, because I can't see the micro thing right now. Okay, a lot of people are wanting to join. Okay, guys, sorry for adding you late. I can't really see anything. There is a record option for how can I say this, for Google Meet, but they require a pro, so I have to pay them. Again, these companies are just greedy. They don't want me to teach in peace. So all right, let's hope no one else joins because I don't want to go out of the screen again. We're going to the next problem, which is a mapping of the region to a country, and we have to map the most populous countries by region, but country by the region. So we're mapping the country that has the most population within a region to that region. So Asia, it would be China, because China's the biggest, has the most population within Asia. For Europe, it should be, I don't know, Russia or something, because Russia technically is in Europe, technically. So we're gonna do the exact same thing as we did before, and then result. Don't autocorrect into that. New hash map. And within that, and then we need to loop through all the countries again. Honestly, with a little practice, I think you guys can do the map problems just fine. Do it and get and flex. I solved all 6 of it. I got a 5. And someone's joining again. Okay. Contains key, and remember to add the actual key in, which is the region of the country that you're looping through. So country.getRegion. And then result dot put, you have to put in the actual thing, country.getRegion. No, but country. No, it's not a hash map. I need to. Okay. Yeah. Then it wouldn't be. No. I can do the sorting later, but no. I have to do it now. I think. Yeah. I sort it now. Go back to my old code. I forgot how to do it again. As you can see, I'm not perfect at all. I still forget to do this, but I don't want to waste your time. Like, if I sit here and think, I can get it in like 10 minutes, but I'd rather just give you guys the solution now. So, what did I do again? No, it's not. Oh, okay. Okay, so we're just doing it like this, and then we need an if under it. If the current country's population, because I don't know how I forgot this, like I did it myself and then I forgot about it, because I was thinking about the comparable and the comparator sort thing. We don't need to do that here. So we just need to do a get, and then we get to get the population, and then if that population is less than the current country's get population, we put the country dot get region with the new country. No, we put, damn it, not get. There we go. So what am I doing here? The extra if here is simply to compare the key, that the value that we already have as we initialize it here. We put it in as country, but like it's always gonna be the country that's is always gonna be the current country. But then if we add the if behind it, then it will have to check whether the population of the current country is less than the population that we have right now, like, which is the next iteration's country. And then if it does, then we'll put it again. Yes, that is correct. You see, so it's like super confusing because it looks like the exact same thing, right? But here it's comparing the country that is inside of the map to the country that's not inside of it yet. And if it finds that it's less, then it will actually, put the new country in, because then you can actually get the country that has the most population as the country that's the value inside of the map. Again, I wish I had a better way of explaining things, but I can't really like word it in an easy to understand way either, without like having to resort to like pen and paper and like a bunch of other things, which the recorded guys will not be able to see. Okay. Wait. Yep. Okay, guys on the meeting, you guys do see my code screen when I go to my code screen, right? OBS, like it's not like freaking out on me, like the Google Meet thing. Yep. Okay, that's good. That's good. Is OBS even seeing anything right now? Okay. How about I do this? Finally showing up. Okay, now we're going to, I can say this is a composite problem because it requires you to do comparator sorting and a mapping problem as well. And my cousin seems to be playing a racing game. Ignore him. He's a medicine student, by the way. Not here though. Back in my home country. List result equals to new hash map. Country, get all. And then we'll do the exact same thing as we did before. Again, this line. We check whether the country is actually in the map, and it's not. So we'll initialize it with a new value, which is gonna be an array list this time. You see, it's a list of countries. So we need to do an array list, new array list. Hmm? The what? This one? Oh, this one is because it was already made for us. Like when you pull the project. But for people who didn't, I'll explain it right after I finish the whole problem. Okay? I'll do it with like a real exercise because it's more complex than this one. This one is very simple. The real ones you guys have to do is you have to add like 2 extra classes. You need an enum and like a static nested class. Okay. Yeah, if you pass one, then you don't have to write the extra. Then you only have to write the extra classes, like the enum. But if you didn't pass it, you have if you pass none, you have to do both. You have to do everything in the file. You have to even make the package yourself. Someone's trying to join. Who is that person? Okay. So this one. Okay. You do the exact same thing as the other thing, but now you need to sort the list, which is gonna be confusing. I know. But first you need to add the country inside of the list because remember, you initialize it with an array list value, but the array list is empty. So you have to do a get to access the continent, and then you do an add to add the country that is within that continent. So you need this add. And then outside of it, you need an if statement. No, you need a for loop. No, actually, I can just sort. For list country, and it's gonna be countries, and then result value. Do you Okay, so this for loop. You need an extra for loop because every single map is mapped to a list. So you need, which is the values of the values that are paired to the region keys. So you need to access those values by using a for loop and looping through every single list because you need to sort every single list. So Oceania has a list, Asia has a list, Europe has a list, Antarctica has a list, or whatever continents, and you need to sort each list separately. That's why we need a for loop so we can go through every list that is inside of the map. So this is what that's doing. You see the type is list country, and you're looping through the country. So I named it countries, and then the array we're taking from is result.values. Dot values is a method that's getting all the values, which is the list of the map that we put in. So, and then you do collection sort countries, new comparator, and then you override. So you see how you're using comparator even in the map problem. That's why it's like a composite problem. You're doing two problems in one. And then you have to sort it by the capitals, right? The capitals of each country. So you have to return an object dot compare O1 dot get capital, O2 dot get capital, and then you have to do comparator. It's a natural order comparison because they're sorted by alphabetical order. And then you return your result. That is the solution. Does anyone have a question for this one, because this one is especially complex.
I think there are three objects implemented respectively for two twice object one and object two.
Well, which one?
Line three objects.
Okay.
It is object two, object two. It should be.
Oh yeah, object one, object one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I typed in object two. Thank you for pointing that out. Any questions? Anyone? If not, I'll move on to the next one. Like as I said, these are the hardest problems you'll get. So if you want to ask anything, ask now. Okay. And finally, we have get countries. What? Okay. Get countries by regions and filter them by the population. So this one is the same as the other one, but you need to filter by the population, by an upper bound and a lower bound. So you have a set of countries that are, the region is the key again, and then you're mapping a set of country to it, and then you have to filter the countries which have the corresponding population. So it needs to be within the upper bound and the lower bound, the countries. So let's do it. All right, and my PC is dying. Don't worry. All right, let's continue. Hash map. I'll just skip the boring steps. So you need the for loop and the list as always, but this time remember it's a set. So you need a new hash set instead. Hash set. Hash set. Oh my god. There we go. And then you do an if, because remember we can only add the country if they're within the lower and the upper bound. So if country dot get population is bigger or equal to the lower bound, and country dot get population is also smaller or equal to the upper bound. And then if all that is satisfied, we can do the result dot get So we're getting the object key, which is country.getRegion. So the current region of the country. And then we can add the country itself. That is it for the final problem of mapping. As you can see, it's relatively challenging. But from here on out, it should be easier. Any questions about the mapping problems? Someone say fine doing. Or is that a comment? Oh, okay. Can I use map compute if absent method? Of course, of course, of course. Again, there are methods to do this stuff in Java. So if you don't want to do the if statement, you can do like he's doing here, compute if absent region, okay, new asset. But like I feel like it's way too much object oriented stuff for most people, and they would get confused and they would forget the method and everything. That's why I don't use it. But you can use it if you're good at it. If you're good at Java, if you're like, if you feel like you can do it, there's a different way you can do the problems. As I don't know how to pronounce your name, like as this person is like commenting here. You can, but I don't want to confuse people by adding even more methods onto it. All right, and now we get the easy ones. I could say this is the sorting question. So you're using comparator and comparable and everything. So I'm just gonna go through them quickly so I can get to the one where I have to make this. I'm gonna tell you how to make this stuff. Okay. So list country. Be down for the 2 hours. New array list. Again, it's a list, so we default to an array list. And then we return. No, no, no. Why am I saying that? That's stupid. Okay, and then we just add the country in. There's an easier way to do this. Just get all. You know why I'm doing get all here? It's because so I don't have to use a for loop to add everything to the list, because the list want country items anyways. So get all would work, and it would automatically put all the country items within the list. So for this particular problem, I don't even need the for loop. I can do it. I can do the for loop and do the result.add like usual, but I'm just gonna do get all just to make it faster. And then we will sort. You need to sort by the order by population and descending. So we need result and then new comparator. And then we return the sorting. Objects. Why is it lagging? Objects dot compare o1 dot get population o2 o2 dot get population. And since it's descending, we'll do comparator reverse order. See, that's all. This problem is relatively easy. Hello? Yes. Result. Because it's descending. You see, their population's in descending order. Okay, the next one. I forgot about your question. Oh my god, sorry. Yes. What is result.sort? Oh yeah. Guys, you can also use result.sort like this, okay? Result.sort and then new comparator. It will be the exact same thing. It will be just like that, okay? Very simple. Many different ways to do this. You don't have to constrain yourself or anything. In fact, I'm gonna use this method for the next one I do. Let me cut that. The next one, we need to get the order. So let me view the whole thing. The names of the capitals, and then the population in descending order. So we we do the exact same thing. I should stop doing that. Array list, just get off. There we go. And instead of doing in here, we just do two sorts like usual. So we're doing one by capital, by the length of the capital, and then the population. So if objects equals, remember because it's two, we have to do an if statement now. O1 dot get capital, and remember it's the length of the capital, so the string length, So we need to get the length, and then O2 dot get capital length, and then we return the objects dot compare O1 dot get capital length, O2 get capital length. I removed one by mistake, I think. What? Oh no, I need a comparator. And then this one is natural order, okay? Because if it's not specified, you sort by natural order, always. Comment? Someone said? Oh man, they're joining, okay. I locked this guy out for so long, probably. And you return a result. And for the final problem, it is the length of capital and then the capital itself. So you need to sort them by the length of the names of the capital and then the capital. So what do we need to change, guys? What is the one thing that we need to change? Like it's the same as this one, but what do we need to change? We just need to change one line, not even that much. This one? Oh, oh, oh yeah, I fucked this one up. Okay, it's supposed to be get population, guys. I screwed that up. And then it has to be reverse order. I put in natural order. There we go. The one thing we need to change is this line, which is correct. You just need to paste the whole thing down. And then in this one line, you change it from the population to the capital. Very simple. And it's not reverse order, it's natural order, so we have to do that as well. Motherfucker, I have too many of these. Okay. And there we go. We're done with the entirety of country repository, guys. The whole thing. Again, all of this is already on the drive. I'll actually update it. I updated it like yesterday, so it should be up to date. But okay, some questions? Yeah. Override this. No. You just type new comparator and enter, and it will give you the whole thing. Yeah, and you just need to do this thing, like the if and everything inside. That's all. Okay. Now the next thing on the agenda is for the people who failed the feedback. People who failed the feedback, the people who haven't failed, you can leave now. Like I believe that you have enough like to solve every problem now. The airport comparator thing, I have the code up. So if you want to ask me about the airport comparator queries, you can ask me after the thing, but I don't want to hold you back any longer. So so the next part is just for people who failed feedback. Yes. Yep. And the final thing, if you fail the exam, the lab exam, even if you passed both the feedbacks, the second time you do it, you will have to do the whole thing. He will not give you the one file again. You have to do the entire thing even if you pass the feedback. So don't try not to fail it. Like you're not gonna fail. Like super easy to pass. You'll get a low score, but it's super easy to pass. And also, if you want to retake for a higher score, it's the same thing. You have to do the whole thing by yourself. So if you want to get passed and with a high score, do it on the first try. So it's less hassle for you. Because if you get a 3 and you want to go up to a 5, and then you take the next exam, you have to do you have to do even the part that this part. So yeah. Your maximum is 3. Oh, then there's yeah, I forgot about that. There's no reason for you to retake it anyways. If you failed on the first try, like just try to get a 3 on the second try. So yeah, practice really well. My advice: practice a lot until it's ingrained into your mind, and then get in there, get a good score, and leave it, leave it, and then focus on the theory. Of course, the theory is important because you only have to get 2 tries, so it's even less than the lab. All right. Okay. Did the people who how many people left? Oh, only a few actually. I'm gonna switch and do the aircraft one now because that's a better representation of what you guys are gonna get in the exam. Okay. So I'm gonna go over to to uh, aircraft repository. The way you get the aircraft is the exact same way as I did before. By the way, you go over here, you go to File, you go to New, Project from Version Control, and you paste the link onto it. The link to aircraft repository should be in here. You see this? The base project. Aircraft repository base project. So go there and copy it. Copy the link to the code so you can actually. And this is the exercise sheet. Right under it is the exercise sheet. Your exam sheet will look something like this. It will look something like this. And it's kind of confusing because a lot of the steps are all over the place. You have to do a bunch of things, but you only can do it. You can only do it like if you mess up the order of the instructions a little bit. It's a very confusing thing. So I'm gonna pop everything out. So if you've cloned the project, then the first thing you have to do is create a is create a package called fleet. If you have the feedback test, like one of the feedback tests, it will be created for you. But if you have passed no feedback test, you have to create this package on your own inside of Java. So next to the base package, there's a fleet package, and then you make the aircraft class. And where does it tell you to make the aircraft class? It tells you here, create a class representing the aircraft. And the object that is describing it is up here. So the field names and everything is all up here. So if you want to know like what do you have, so you have a string type here, you have a string code, and you have manufacturer and everything. It's all specified in this part. So even though it tells you to do it down here, you have to look up here. And then for the extra classes, you have to look like down here again, and then you have to go up here. The configuration thing. Okay? So I'm gonna try to make the instruction again. To make it according to the instruction, okay? Let me see a screen. My screen. Sharing. Oh! Oh fuck! I just shut down the meeting. Good lord! What the fuck have I done? I got out of the meeting. I think I can still get back in. I can still get back in. Okay, guys. I'm so sorry. I got out of the meeting by mistake. Let me go back to the meeting for you guys. Okay, can you see my wait? Can anyone see my screen? I got out by mistake. Type 1 if you can hear me or see the screen. Dude, just talk. If you want to talk through mic, just talk. Yep. Mhm. Yeah, I fucked up. Sorry. Mm, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I hope you guys have the exercise sheet open because I'm gonna be doing it from that. So the first thing you have to do is to implements the the how can I say this? Oh no, not implement. I'm sorry. You need to make the fields. So you need an aircraft object first because that's the main object that we're gonna be querying from. So we're gonna need code, a string code. So string type and a string code. String code, and you need a manufacturer type, which is gonna be an enum actually. Like guys, I know you guys can't see the exercise sheet on my screen, so go to e-learning and look at it, please. I know you guys can't see it, but I have it open on the side. So for the manufacturer, it is specified as a JSON type string with these following values. So to do that, you actually have to make an enum. You have to make an enum of it, and here you can see create an enum class representing the possible values of the manufacturer field. And to do that, you do this. Enum, no, public is a public static class. So public static enum manufacturer. Manufacturer. And then you need to put in the Lombok annotation. So JSON property, and then inside of that property, you have to put in the string values that he gives you. So Airbus, Boeing, and all of that, put it in. And beside and right under them, capitalize what he gave you and make it into an enum value. Like it can be anything you name. I can name this like AB if I wanted to, because it only affects my code. But I'll name it Airbus just to keep it uh, understandable. And then we have Boeing, which is gonna be Boeing, and then we have Embraer. I don't know how to pronounce that. Embraer. And finally, I'm not gonna say that because it sounds like a curse word, but pretty funny name. All right, that is the only enum. That is how you do the enum, guys. So if you guys have to do the enum, if you only pass one feedback test, that's how you do it. Extremely easy, like 4 lines. Again, any questions, just speak up and ask me. Don't or type, And here we can finally implement the enum. So manufacturer, manufacturer. There we go. And then we have a release here, which is a number. Whenever he says a number and it contains integer, just default to int. Int release. And the configuration. The configuration is another class. It is an array that contains objects. So you need another object to describe the configuration, which is going to be specified down here. So create the representing configuration as a static nested class. So for a static nested class, you need to do public static class configuration. Someone's and remember to create it inside of aircraft, by the way. Screw you. 15 minutes is more than enough for me. No. All right. So to make the configuration class, you see on the exercise sheet it says make the class immutable. What does immutable mean? It means all the fields are private and final. So whenever he says immutable, just go private final. Private final, and then the fields are code. So a string code, and then the string airline. So private final string airline, and then popularity, which is a number. So private final int, it contains integers, so we know it's int. Popularity. If it's specified as a long or something, then of course do like long integers, so long. But we only need this. And then we need to generate a constructor that has all the parameters. This is where the Lombok annotation comes in. So for all arguments, you do all arg constructor, okay? And then you need a public visibility, which is the default, so you don't need to change anything. Remember, public visibility is the default. So you don't need to do anything to change it. It's public. Now we need no parameters. So no arg, okay? And then we have to make the access level private. So it's going to be access equals access level private. And for this one, you need to force true as well. Because if you don't, it will give you an error. You have to, basically, to give a like a more simple explanation, it doesn't really allow for no args constructor to be private in a sense. So you kind of have to force it. So remember the force true thing. Okay, and now we need the getters. So getter, which is gonna be public anyway. So we don't need to change anything. Again, it's automatically public, and a toString. So toString. So, but if you look at the exercise sheet, you will see that it says that it contains every field except the configuration field. No, no, not that one. Oh, no, no, no. For configuration, there's nothing. So it's for the aircraft. And then we need to make sure that two objects are identical if their code fields are the same. This make so you have to do an equals and hash code. Whenever it says that the objects are equal if certain or two or three fields are the same, you do equals and hash code. But since we only need to compare the code to check if they're the same, you do explicit. What was it again? Only explicit. Yes. Only what? Okay. Mm. Only explicitly included, and the default is false. So every field will be included. But if you do true, now no field is included. So none is included, and we specify that we include only the code. Okay, so if you put this above the field, then only that field will be included. So for this one is code. And for the air, now we go back up to aircraft, we can finally define our configuration, which is an array. Configuration, and then array configuration. And that is every field inside of aircraft. Now we can get started on actually doing the constructors and everything, which we're gonna do right now. So we need an arguments constructor for the parameters, and it's public, so we don't need to change anything. We need a no args constructor, which we're gonna make private, which is gonna cause an error. Oh no, it doesn't actually. Oh yeah, because of the thing, it doesn't cause an error here, so you don't need to do the force thing. And finally, you can generate a getter method. So getter method and a toString. ToString for everything except configuration. So we have to exclude configuration, right? So we can do ToString dot exclude. So by default, ToString includes everything. So if you want to exclude only one thing, just put the exclusion above it. And finally, we need two objects are identical if their type fields are the same. So we do equals and hash code again. And we will do only explicitly included again. And so we're gonna do include right here. Voila. Now you have completely finished everything you need to do inside of of the the aircraft file, or basically in the lab exam. If you haven't passed any feedback, this is all you have to do. You have to do half. So like from the enum or maybe from the static configuration class. Also, probably have to, because I think that's how it works for everything. He probably is gonna have like or maybe he'll like ask you to upload a file. It can be like that too. Like I don't know because I haven't taken it myself. But like the feedback will, like the warm up will let us know because the warm up is next Monday. Okay, there's one thing I want to remind you in the exercises where it says to implement the comparable method. I'm gonna, yeah, you see this? Order aircraft using comparable. So you need to sort the code, sort the with the comparable interface. In that case, I'm gonna delete this whole function and do it again for you guys. So I'll delete up to here because we need this thing is self-explanatory. You need to go here. You go back to the class that needs the comparable method and you implement it. Comparable. And then remember to add the aircraft into it. And then, just like the feedback test, inside of the class, you generate the compare to method. And then you do your comparison in here. So this is if the only if the exercises has a comparable like interface, like it tells you to implement comparable, then you have to do this in the actual main class, in the object class. I mean, not the main. This is not main. And I'm gonna do the comparison here. So it's telling us to do code ascending, release gear, and type, and it's like alternating. So, oh god damn it. Where is the? Why am I forgetting this all of a sudden? This okay. Remember, remember the way you write the thing, guys. This dot code, o dot code, return objects, compare. This dot code, o dot code, comparator, natural order, and below is the release here, which is descending. So I'll just do release, release, reverse order. And then finally, we need to compare by type. The reason we can use the actual name of the values in here, so you remember how we always have to use get, right? Get configure, get code, get type, get everything, is because that is outside of the class. The comparable like method is implemented inside of the actual class, so we can use this and the actual thing instead of the getter. You still use the getter, it's fine, but you don't have to. You can just put in the actual field. There we go. And then inside of the comparable function, you just do collection dot sort result and nothing else, and then return the result. Because the comparable method is tied to the class, so it will automatically invoke it whenever you try to sort it. So you don't have to do anything. You just implement it and then just do a simple collection dot sort. That's how you do the comparable issues. And the comparator is the same as I did in the map problems, okay? In the map problems I did, in the list problems I already did it. I won't go over it again. Any questions? I think we're done with that. Any questions? Queries? This one? You don't have to do the comparator because this is comparator. It's a different, it's a fundamentally different like interface to comparable. Because comparable is designed so that you tag it onto the class and then you do the comparison inside of the class and you just need to sort it and it will automatically go to that. This one is an abstract method that I'm implementing. The comparator right now is a abstract method that's only existing inside of this one, and it will be invoked only if this thing is used. So yeah, these are completely different, by the way. Don't mix them up. Comparable, you have to do it that way. Comparator, you have to do it this way. If you mix up the two in the exam, you will fail. So if the comparable, like if he doesn't ask for a sorting using comparable, you don't have to write it. You don't have to.
So I noted that
Mhm.
when we define the enum,
Yep.
the letter M is not to capital letter in the question. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think the Robert
Manufacturer.
Yeah.
It's this thing.
I mean, when we define the enum.
The enum, yeah, but that's the thing, because none of the things are capitalized, but you have to capitalize them because the name of enums classes and everything else in Java, you have to capitalize the first letter. That is the convention, and Todd Robert wants you to follow that. So actually, what he means by not capitalizing it is that you can name it anything you want. I can name this airplane, and it wouldn't matter. It only matters in my code. In my code, really.
Okay.
But like I use aircraft because that's understandable.
Okay.
So yeah, he wants you to create the objects representing an aircraft. He doesn't tell you what to name it. Just like configuration. But like the field names you have to get correct though. So this has to be manufacturer, this has to be configuration. Anything he specifies, you have to do it exactly like that. Otherwise, like, you know. All right, guys. This is the end of our session. So, do you guys want me to talk about anything? About theory, about other things that could come in the lab? If not, I'm gonna end the meeting, okay? Yeah, just Taro, Kirill, like just talk, good. Just talk.
So in case of the people who solve one of the defect tests, does it mean that we just need to create the class again? So I mean,
you need to probably it's gonna be something like he's gonna not include the configuration in the manufacturer. Like he'll give you the main class, but he won't like do the other ones. Or he can remove all the yellow things, like all the constructors and everything, and make you do them yourself. I don't really know because I haven't heard it from anyone like what that has failed like only one feedback, because usually people either fail both or they don't fail anything. But if you fail one, like you get half of this and you have to make the rest on your own.
And after that, we need to go to the queries and the software exercises and be curious, yes?
Yes, and then you have to do the queries just like everyone else. Everyone has to do the query. No questions asked.
And that's all.
Yes.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. You guys have been a very attentive audience. A bit quiet, but you know. Wish you good luck on the exam.
So you said, but the sound is not really like that section. Like we don't have to, aside from the.
Yeah. You don't have like if you see the past papers that everyone posted, the past code, they didn't do any of the south thing. They only did like one. Just have.
Because I'm just confused about this, the format entry, purple dot confused by the. It's the one that you do.
Did you get the code? Oh, that is a different way I did it, but I commented it out because it was too confusing. Because like I don't want you to have to remember like, oh, what do I do here, and then you just go and do random stuff all over the place.
So like even this
actually
is
needed. This is basically like that's me trying shit out and it didn't work out. So or it was too confusing because like I also used ChatGPT like to maybe simplify the code, and then I realized that it just made it more difficult. It would just do some methods that most of you guys don't even know about, and the more you have to remember, the more confused you'll be. So I just decided to.